Today is Friday, June 28, 2024, and I welcome you to the Daily Headline Newspaper Update on the Insider Podcast. I am Kayode Sonny, and with me is the Punch newspaper, The Nation, Vanguard, Nigerian Tribune, and Daily Mirror. Starting off on the front page of the Punch newspaper right here, the big story here on page 18, federal government rolls out a 1 trillion naira palliative massive construction project, with riders 37 million families to get 540 billion naira grants, 155 billion naira for assorted foods orders, and federal government to begin massive road, rail construction, CNG buses distribution in states FCT. And another story right here on page 22, NNPC to boost economy with $4 billion gas projects. On page 29, cholera. Government eyes vaccine donations as cases hit 1,579. On page 28, blackmail can't stop new presidential jet approval. And that's coming from Senate. And on page 2, 2023 budget. Federal government okays December extension to forestall abandoned projects. And this one right here on page 22, federal government raises fresh 284 billion naira as T-bills debt hits 10 trillion naira. On pages 4 and 5, probe begins as ex-Conga CEO allegedly jumps into death in Lagos apartment. On page 29, states should negotiate minimum wage, and that's coming from Southern governors. And moving on to the Nation newspaper right here, we're seeing a picture from the Federal Ministry of Works showing a renewed hope legacy road infrastructure project. And another story right here on page 4 of the Nation, Tinubu rallies governors on massive food production, with rider president backs urgent result-oriented agric plan. On page 4, federal government slashes CNG conversion cost by half. And the last one on page 4, surveillance operatives uncover all theft camps. And those are all the headlines on the Nation. And moving on to Vanguard, the big story on page 5, minimum wage. Let each state negotiate what it can pay. And that's coming from the governors, with riders Tinubu next silent on minimum wage. Public-private workers getting restive over delayed minimum wage, say Labour. Want Labour leaders to push for quick resolution. Lament hardship becoming unbearable with basic necessities no longer affordable. We're not happy with Tinubu's slow motion. That's coming from Sano. And another one right here on page 8 of the Vanguard. Army promotes first female officer Oluchukwu trained in Sandhurst to lieutenant. And also on page 10, Shaun, Imam at war over Hajj. On page 8, how democracy activists made mistake of a lifetime in 1999, says Shehu Sani. On page 8, Tinubu approves 50,000 naira grant, 155 billion naira food package for households. And on page 17 of the sports page, Chelsea joined Manchester United ban in pursuit of Lookman. Okay, now moving on to Nigerian Tribune, the big story on page 23, private illegal aircraft used for drug trafficking, money laundering, says Keyamo, with riders says federal government will probe licenses, clamp down on indicted operators. And on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune, minimum wage, each state should be allowed to negotiate with labor unions, says Southern governors, as governors restate commitment to process for better wages. On page 16, I design my shoes. Oni explains why he doesn't wear wristwatches. On page 4, Senate says no to request yet for presidential jet. On page 24, Yahaya Bello seeks transfer of case to Kogi. On page 28, EFCC chairman orders arrest of officers involved in Lagos hotel raid. On page 8, Ogbomoso chief imam kicks as Shaun queries him over Hajj, conferment of religious titles. On page 24, Sokoto Assembly refers Emirates Council Amendment Bill to committee. On page 3, NUT berates federal government, wants continuous funding of TRCN. And the last one, and this one right here on page 3, National Economic Council meets silent on minimum wage with riders, approves $1 billion agri consortium initiative, demands measures to end crude oil theft. On page 12, Tinubu approves National Construction Household Support Program rollout with rider, prioritizes Sokoto Badagry Highway. And now to the Daily Mirror outside of Nigeria. We're seeing here the Lion's Den, Secrets of England's HQ, and also the big story here inside crumbling hospital. This is why we need to vote to Labour. Exclusive. Tory NHA's neglect highlighted. A striking docs say they'll talk to care. And those are all the headlines from the newspapers this day. Thank you for tuning in, and please kindly react and comment to the stories below right here on the question and answer box. This is Kayode Sonny on the Daily Headline Newspaper Update right here on the Insider Podcast. See you next time.